What's up, Starcraft fans? Today we're doing the tier list for Attrition Warfare on Hammerland, Void Thrashing. So Brian, let's hear about the Mutation.
Void Thrashing is the map where we have to destroy 10 Void Thrashers before they destroy Sergeant Hammer's completely useless fortress. Each set we destroy reveals the next, unless we take too long and they spawn anyway.
Yeah.
Diffusion spreads our damage to all nearby allied and enemy units in an area. And Widow Mines and Spider Mines are scattered all around the map.
So yeah,
they deal a stupid amount of splash damage
very
when they
stupid.
connect.
Very stupid amount of splash damage. With me are Tutu and Stickspender. So good morning / evening, guys.
All right, great.
Yeah. No
Good
kidding.
morning, good evening to you too.
Thank you. Good evening to you too, Tutu. Anyway, so how are we gonna rate the commanders today, Tutu?
Commanders who can clear the mines easily will get, I guess, higher rating. And diffusion means that if your commander relies on melee units or your detector is not that good and it might get killed, then the commander will get a lower rating.
That makes sense. How about you, Stickspender?
It's really quite an easy mutation in the sense of there's nothing that's really going to blindside you or just overwhelm you outright. There's only, if you mess up with your micro, you may just lose your entire army instantaneously.
That makes perfect sense.
So there's going to be a bit, I think, of rating commanders a bit based on how resilient they are to, oh, oops, I messed up and the mines just blew up everything. For some commanders, that's going to be the end of the world, and some commanders, that's going to be, oh no. Anyways.
Send the next wave. Alright, so let's begin. Abathur, where do we put him?
Because of Minesweeper and Diffusion, you can't really use Brutalists. The good thing is that for the first Thrasher, you can just kill it with Spore Crawlers.
Yeah.
1 or 2. If you spread them out, like for some reason, even if the Thrasher uses the lightning on it, it doesn't really get hurt.
Yeah.
If the 2 spores are spread out far enough. That's about it. Everything else is difficult, and if you lose your Overseer, then you gotta
remake
wait to get another one.
Yeah.
So pretty much relying on Guardians and Guardians to do most of the work. So I put him in D.
D, wow. Actually, yeah, D isn't too far off from where I put him. Stickspender, how about you?
Yeah, I was thinking C, but D seems pretty sensible. I think Swarm Hosts would also work as well as Guardians, because the mines only have so much ammo, and Abathur Swarm Hosts spawn at a ludicrous rate.
Ludicrous is right.
Yeah, so they'll kill all the locusts, but who cares? It's still going to be very slow because they're low DPS and they're going to be close enough that Diffusion is going to be splashing onto them. So it's going to be a really slow, grindy process to grind down Amon's defenses either way. And it's going to be a very slow startup for you. So just not the greatest option here, Abathur. C, D makes sense. We could put him a D, honestly.
Yeah, I think now that I hear your reasoning, and I'll add to that, Abathur's Anchor is really the ultimate evolution, and if you can't really use it, so Abathur's left anchorless until he has a significant army. And considering Void Thrashing is a short map, you might run out of time and stuff. So yeah, I think D makes sense. Alright, Alarak, where do we put him?
On paper, it's really easy. You just have Alarak and a mothership. You have them really early. Everything's easy. Your detection's easily accessible. If you lose your detection, you can just warp it in with Warp Gate to instantly resummon it.
True.
And then in practice, it's like one Widow Mine goes off and ends your career. B or C, honestly, just because of the sheer scale. He would be A tier if it was just based on how easily he can get access to mine clearing tools, because he's got instant access to them. The problem is when you come to the micro requirements of using those tools and the unforgivingness of slipping up with those, he's probably down there with Abathur. Maybe a little better, but maybe.
Yeah. Let's hear from
because
Tutu.
of the sheer ouch of slipping up.
So Alarak's detector is invisible, which is good. However, if you walk a little too close, Diffusion will kill it. So while you're clearing, which is a problem. Alarak himself, he's mostly melee. I mean, you can use Destruction Wave, but that's it's slow. It's
And
really
dangerous.
slow. What I chose to do was I just kept Alarak at home to fight waves, and I used the mothership on offense, and I used the War Prism to
Clear
bring
out.
or to like carry the havoc and warp them in. But sometimes, like as I'm warping them in, the enemies they have detection. The detector isn't gone yet, and then they would kill my havoc, and then I have to make another one,
That
and then it
feels
takes a
bad,
little
man.
more time. So I put him in C because, like, yeah, you can do it, but if you can't mess up.
Hearing that the Havoc has to get sometimes a little too close, putting itself in danger and the rest of your army, yeah, I think C makes sense. If you are Alarak, and if you only have Alarak and you don't have Prestige, your best call is probably to make Wrathwalkers and just very slowly inch them up with a Havoc or two alongside, so they can slowly but surely clear the mines. I think that's the safest way to go about this. If you're
Yep.
Alarak.
A move the Wrathwalkers and micro your Havocs probably.
Yeah. I think C makes sense. Artanis, where do we have him? Oh wait,
Finally,
Arcturus first. Arcturus first. Yeah, Arcturus.
Oh,
Sorry.
Arcturus. Okay, Arcturus. Do we have to talk about him? Like,
Oh
Is-
my
is
goodness!
there- is there a-
ESO! Boom!
is there a double S? Because that's where he belongs.
You think we should? You think we should break out the double? I've actually been secretly thinking that we should have a double S tier, but only for commanders
I-
who are so good for a mutation that they are above S tiers, even among other mutations.
You kind of notice Minesweeper in the beginning, and you kind of notice Diffusion if you haven't already killed the waves with ESO or like Contaminated Strike them. Otherwise, there's nothing different. And yeah, you might lose your units when you're killing the buildings in the middle because you forgot about Diffusion,
Yeah.
and you lose. But that's about it. So
I've lost a bunker while clearing out the expansion rocks, but that's about it.
easy S tier.
Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, I agree with easy S tier. However, I think that the Diffusion and Mines, you notice them enough in the early game that I wouldn't say this is the time to invent double S tier.
Alright, so we're gonna keep the double S tier. So yeah, Arcturus S. Artanis, where do we put him?
Artanis, he's probably A tier. You got two really good options. You got Dragoons and you got Tempests. Both of those are long range, great at clearing mines. Just well-rounded units. You can summon your detection, which is cloaked with Warpins. It's an air unit, so you don't have to worry about, like, Alarak, when he's summoning the Havoc, he might have to worry about, he tries to summon a Havoc, and then as it's warping in, it's like, oh, but it's the only
It's
ground
dead.
unit. It's here, and it dies. No, Artanis just instantly, Observer, spontaneously generates. If you're not using P3, it has Guardian Shell, so, like, really, they
Yeah.
cannot snipe your Observer.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I said, A tier. You got solid options. You could just A move Dragoons in the front door. You can A move Tempest from the back door. Either way, you have easy access to detection.
Okay, how about
It's
you,
great.
Tutu?
I think Tempest is the safer route. You go around the
Same.
back, do the observers, use observer, and then poke all the mines, poke the enemies, and then poke the thrashers.
Yeah.
You have one solar bombardment for like each set of thrashers. I put him in B just because I think he's very good, except that when he has to actually, like, when he's fighting the waves, like if they're all melee and stuff, that might be some trouble. Some, depending on the enemy comp, there might be some trouble, but fighting the objective is very easy. So the people I have in A don't have problems with either of them, but he might have problems with attack waves. So I put him in B.
Yeah, I'm actually also thinking A. He could be A. But I guess we'll find out. Oh, are you opposed to
I
being
can-
in...
I feel like we can put him in A for now, and we can, like, have him as a faster consideration for dumping him into B if
Yeah.
a
I'm
lot
thinking...
of people are in A.
Yeah. I think we can have him like at the bottom of A for now, and then demote to B if there are a lot of guys in A.
Yes.
Actually, another consideration I have that I actually didn't consider earlier, but I should have, is that your ally gets Guard and Shell if you don't have P3, and that's, I think, a huge help for a lot of these guys. So,
Yep.
Guard Shell, pretty good. Dehaka, where do we put him?
The Hawk P2 is good. Pack leaders. I think they ignore diffusion, but even if they don't, they have so much HP that
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
It feels
Even
like they
with-
ignore diffusion.
Can confirm
Even-
they don't, but they just have that much health.
Feels like they do.
Even with diffusion, creeper hosts do very good work against the thrashers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then if you have max the worm greater primal worm cooldown, you just summon a worm and then kill all the mines near it, and then send more towards the enemy base. And then with diffusion, it's like all your creeper hosts have splash damage, kind of more splash damage, kind of like that.
Yeah.
So and it's really easy to do. You don't have to actually even go into the last base or the third base. You just
Creeper
stay from
hosts.
outside. Yeah, you just use creeper hosts from the outside and slowly push them in. So I put them in A.
I think that actually makes sense. I didn't think of using the second prestige earlier, but yeah, that's probably why I didn't think of just going for worm mastery. How about you, Sixbender?
Pack leaders OP on P2 makes sense. Creeper hosts are strong, makes sense. The approach of using creeper hosts to baneling dive thrashers makes sense. The actual execution thereof sounds considerably more complicated and difficult it actually sounds like a lot more work and execution than Tempests, frankly.
There's no
Like,
risk.
there's also no risk to having Tempests over the unpassable terrain around the edge. You will not get hit by Widow Mines with the Tempest, because Widow Mines have the high aggro priority, and they have 5 range. You have 10 range.
Anyway, I think I have to agree with the Dehaka being A, because in the first place, the creeper hosts are good.
Pack leaders are so powerful.
My only consideration, actually, creeper hosts, because they
Creeper
can.
hosts are really powerful too. Yeah,
They're
And
basically
they're
earth
risk-free
splitters. They're basically earth splitters, except they shoot up also, and they also shoot, and they can be targeted. Downside is
the hosts themselves encounter one stray mine and you lose everything.
yeah, that's why you siege them up in the earth splitter area. You clear the center area. You park you burrow your creeper hosts there, and then you just send your waves. You just send your locust waves manually into the thrashers. My only concern there was they might get sniped by the widow mines. With greater primal worm cooldown, you can just see where all the mines. Even if a mine kills all your creepers, spawn the next wave. It doesn't take that long to spawn creepers. As Dehaka, I think it's still really easy. I think he's still an easy A, to be honest. All right, there we go. You can't dispute it anymore. I've already put it in. Anyway, Fenix, where do you put him?
You can't use Keldalis pretty much because mines just shut him down. Plus diffusion. No, he doesn't really care about diffusion because if he gets 2 swipes off, he's already done enough. Except he does care about diffusion because now he can't kill thrashers or hybrid because he'll kill himself before he kills the thrashers or hybrid. So no, really, like Keldalis has a terrible day. Tellus doesn't outrange mines. Carriers lose all their interceptors to diffusion and mines, so they're useless. Scouts, I don't think they're anti-ground outranges Widow Mines, but I'm not sure. I'd have to double check. Immortals and Colossi are all that you have left and can't shoot up. They're gonna have a heck of a hard time pushing into void thrashing bases, especially if you get Zerg enemies. You're gonna suffer immensely trying to push into that 4th base because the only units you have that at all function are just gonna struggle so hard to push into that 4th base. Plus, there's gonna be Ultralisks and melee hybrid running up with diffusion and melting your entire army when the hybrid behemoth starts sitting on your face, diffusing onto you.
Mm-hmm.
E tier, possibly F tier. Fenix is gonna suffer.
How about you, Tutu?
You only can use robo units. The good thing is that your detector is invisible, so you can siege them. You can use the siege mode for the observer, and then just like Artanis's observers, and you can see farther. But he's really slow. I think he's in D, not E. He's not that bad because he still has ranged units.
Yeah, he still has some solution. Very, very mediocre solutions, very blunt solutions, but the solutions nonetheless.
Against Protoss enemies, he's probably on a similar level to Abathur. Against Terran enemies or Zerg enemies, nope.
Okay, how about this? We put Fenix in E for now, and then we consider later how many are better or worse at Fenix. Alright. Hot and Horner, where do we put him?
Han and Horner are actually pretty good. Actually. Surprising. They're actually
Shocking.
pretty Yeah, so P2 battle cruisers does wonders. It's
Wow.
like it's really good. The Raven turns invisible, so like you don't have to worry about getting hit by enemies if you snipe their detectors first. Um, battle cruisers outrange mines. They have 6 range, and the mines have 5. Um, for defense, you use Hellbats, not Hellbats, Hellions, and the Galleons, and
Magmines.
strike fighters, magmines. All those things will help with defense, while battle cruisers will just kill everything. Like and you go around the side. So going around the side means that you're gonna take less time because you don't have to clear the mines in the middle. So you're gonna get closer to the thrashers much more quickly.
That makes
And
sense.
battle cruisers can teleport.
How about the fourth base?
So the 4th base, you just go from the side.
Also, the 4th base, my recommendation is right from the get-go, every single cast of Call in the Fleet is on that 4th base, and by the time you get to that 4th base, there's nothing left.
Yeah.
Wouldn't
that's
that risk activating the Thrashers early?
It shouldn't, because the Call in the Fleet should have a hard time killing the actual big chonky hybrid, so the big chonky hybrid will keep enough hit points alive in that base to make it not actually trigger. But if you're putting it along the sides of the base, which remember you're coming in from the sides anyways, it'll clean out all the spore crawlers / photon cannon / missile turrets on the sides of the base, while leaving the middle, where you're not even going to go, fully intact. But you're not actually going to the middle, because there's no need to. You just go from the sides.
I haven't actually thought of using wing commanders here. Do you get the Yamato upgrade for the battle cruisers?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it
Obviously.
makes sense because diffusion actually mitigates the overkill thing. So where do you have
and
him?
it makes them one-shot Widow Mines.
Where do you have him?
B.
Interesting. How about you, Stickspender?
I'm kind of leaning towards C, purely on the basis of, if you get the wrong enemy comp, base defense is going to be hell. Consider for a moment Swarmy, Shadow Tech, or Classic Mech.
I think Magmines will still perform pretty decently against those.
Magmines are pretty solid. I'm kind of leaning towards C, but I don't think any lower than C, and B is like, I wouldn't be offended to see them in B, honestly. Battle cruisers are their battle cruisers are pretty solid here.
All of us aren't averse to having him in B. So let's have him B. Karax, where do we put him?
Probably A tier. Karax has buildings. Buildings, ignore the mines. The probe creating those buildings can survive one Widow Mine shot to the face unless you use P1 for some reason. Why would you do that with offensive buildings?
And if you lose it, just another probe. It's 50 minerals.
Just another probe. It's 50 minerals.
I want to know how many monoliths can I afford per minute, so I can not overmake them in one spot, and completely run out at a later time.
You get about 1,200 minerals and 400 gas a minute, so that's 4.
That's 4. Okay, 4. So 1 every 15 seconds. Okay, that makes sense. All right. So where do you have him, Tutu?
I didn't cannon push. I just used Spear of Adun with observers from the back
and fire,
and just fire and the fire lance.
Yeah.
Every was that purifier beam is used to clear the edges, like the mines around the edges, and the static D, the turrets that shoot up so that the observers can get close, and then you shoot the thrashers. And when the attack waves come, I spend like as little energy on the attack waves as possible. Just let them hit the cannons. If they die, they die. I'll build some more. Yeah. And then all the energy is used on the thrashers. So I put them in A.
Okay, unanimous. There we go.
I always feel so iffy about using just the Spear of Adun to hit the thrashers, because it's just like, there's so much health and I have such a tight schedule to kill them.
I may have made mirages.
Kerrigan, where do we have him?
Brood Lords are good. Slow, but good. Immobilization Wave clears a lot of mines. I'm not sure if diffusion matters. No, if they one shot, there's no diffusion. So Immobilization Wave, to do 180 damage, you need 25 points in the mastery or more.
And so not P2.
You can, and not P2. Then you'll be able to clear a bunch of mines in one shot. So Kerrigan's problem, as always, is air. So the attack, if it's ground, your Broodlords will just kill him. Kerrigan can kill him. But if it's air, you're gonna need like Spore Crawlers or something. Hydralisk will get killed. Maybe Hydralisk, but yeah. So she's pretty good. Omega Worm's detection that you can summon anywhere, and it's a building.
Yeah.
So overall, it's good except against air. So I put her in B.
Okay, solid. How about you, Sixbender?
Pretty much makes sense to me. I would strongly recommend P3 Kerrigan because then at least your hero unit can it can shoot up, and if you're on top of microing Kerrigan, especially with Crushing Grip, she can solo all the airwaves on Void Thrashing with her hero. It's just can get a little dicey against some air comps.
I noticed this weird thing about Kerrigan, the third prestige, Desolate Queen. Whenever I use a kinetic blast on the Widowmine, she kind of walks forward, keeps walking even after using the kinetic blast. Do you guys experience that, or is it just me?
Maybe because she's a spider.
Yeah. So I think what happens is you kinetic blast the Widowmine, and the problem is that puts her close enough that her AI sees the minefield and goes, "I want to auto attack that." And her auto attack range is 3, which is a lot less than mine range. So don't let her do that.
Yeah, that's weird. I feel like it's a bug that she should stop when she attacks.
I think it's just her, because once she uses that kinetic blast, her commands are clear. She's got no commands.
Wow.
So she'll just act like she's on stop position, and her stop position aggro range is pretty long. Yeah, B tier just kind of makes sense. It's just air is a bit annoying, but Broodlords are really good. Kerrigan's hero unit is quite solid. Mine clearing, it's slow, but it works. P3 is almost necessary to have that rating. If you're any lower, it's going to be much worse. And of course, the most valuable thing here is just that immobilization wave. Once you get immobilization wave at 10 minutes, effectively at that point, Minesweeper is gone. Solid B. There's like a piece of me that wants to put her in A, but I think solid B is safer. So we'll stick her in solid B.
Cool. Nova. Where do I put him?
You have all the tools you need. If you mess up and lose your units to the mines,
Yikers.
you don't come back. And then we remember P3 exists, and Nova just walks around clearing literally everything, mines, bases, and all, without ever being able to be damaged.
8-minute nuke.
Nova should be just fine. P3 Nova is an S candidate.
P3, you walk around clearing everything with no danger. There's no danger to yourself. Liberators can fly around the sides, and you only need like 4 to kill a Thrasher pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And the bases, I guess they kind of like they either match the size of the sabotage drone or the nuke. It's just like it clears everything in the way. And then any air units that are left, you can snipe them, or you can Griffin airstrike them. Yeah, so easy S tier.
All right.
So easy.
Yep. That's what I thought.
All right, let's switch this out to like S. Okay. Raynor, where do you have him?
You're flying around with battle cruisers and you kill stuff. So and then you model whatever threats are near you. Your spare minerals can be used for like marine bunker and or vulture mines. But yeah, so I put Raynor in C.
Han Horror, but worse because his
Literally.
His Yamato isn't auto attack. How about you, Sixbender?
Yeah, his Yamato isn't auto attack. Also, his early game is going to be more rough than Han and Horner. You don't have mag mines.
Yeah.
That's gonna hurt. And here's the thing: Han and Horner at least can build Hellions right off the bat. Jimmy has Marines. Marines don't outrange mines, so Marines can't function against Minesweeper. Period. Hellions outrange mines. That's the difference. The one advantage Raynor has over Han and Horner is Han and Horner's battlecruisers have 6 range. That means you outrange mines by 1. That's enough. It's not comfortable, but it's sufficient. Raynor's battlecruisers have 7 range instead of 6. That outranges mines by 2. That is considerably more comfortable.
Yeah, it's twice the space.
It is twice the wiggle room.
Yeah.
That's considerably more comfortable. So C tier makes perfect sense.
Okay, I think all of us agree on. Wait. Yeah, I think all of us agree on C tier. So yeah, C
C for could be better.
could be better. Okay, Stetboy, where do we have him?
Setboy goes in the science tier with the other
The
ones who use
science
advanced
tier.
who use other advanced Terran technology.
Super Duper Gary's
Right up
so
there.
good. My goodness, I didn't even need any units. I just had my
Yeah,
Al.
Super Gary just completely solos everything. He's a detector. He outranges mines.
What was
He can
that?
survive. He can survive 8 widow mine shots to the face and shrug it off like it's nothing.
Is there like
Spider mines can't hit him because he's an air unit. Gary just doesn't care. But if you just pretend for a moment that Gary does care, and you have to use units, you have your Zerglings,
yeah
and your Zerglings have hearted shields, so they can survive several mines to the face and they don't even care.
yeah
Yeah,
yeah
Stetmann is a clear S tier. It's not hard. It's obvious. Oh yeah, you could also use infestors if you want.
yeah. I'm definitely gonna use Infestors next time. His corruptors Anyway,
Eh,
Tutu, how about you?
Yeah, Stetmann does everything, and then you send in the unit of your choice to kill the Thrashers.
Exactly.
What? Yeah, so he also has no problems with the attack waves because he does the same thing as he does to the mines. So yeah, S tier.
Yeah, S tier,
you
easy
press
S
equal,
tier.
it's gone.
Okay, Stukov. How about Stukov?
Stukov. P1 tanks is really good
Yeah,
here. You can fire on the mines from a really, really long range. You can fire
18
on the enemies
range.
from a really long range.
18.
Against so the bad part is that it is also kind of slow. It's kind of slow and also air. Like you probably need some Diamondbacks, but then diffusion, and then Diamondbacks, like if they get hurt, you have to manually repair them because their natural regen is so slow. And the
Diamondbacks.
overseer sometimes, if you move like a little bit too close, it gets shot down, which is pretty annoying. So I put Stukov in C.
C. How about you, Sixbender?
I was thinking B originally, but then I look at the 2 commanders who are currently in B, especially Kerrigan, and say, nope, 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 nope. Go into C. Go down, down, down. Get down, Stukov. Yeah, okay.
All right, Swann. Where do I have him?
Swann. Anyways, as we were just talking about B, let's go back to B and put in Buon. Like Buon seems like a good spot for him today. Don't you think? So laser drill. Laser drill can clear everything. It doesn't care about mines. Your floating factories don't care about mines. You do have to kill the void thrashers at some point. You're probably going to want to do that with wraiths. The problem with that, wraiths are going to die instantly if a mine hits them. Now, should a mine ever hit them? No, they're invisible. Sniping detection with a floating factory plus laser drill is not that hard. You just snipe all the detection. You fly in the wraiths. You snipe the thrasher in like 2 or 3 volleys. But like, it's like in terms of having all the tools, he's easy A tier. In terms of actual execution difficulty, he gets demoted all the way down to B tier.
How about you, Tutu?
So he can clear mines, he can defend very well. But like when it comes to actually dealing damage to the Thrashers, that's a problem. Like you can float a factory, but drilling a Thrasher is really slow. And if you can Herc tank, you can teleport tanks there. But you have to get rid of like the hybrid or whatever because they don't die to pulse cannon. You should probably have max concentrated beam and then use that for mine clearing as well and enemy clearing.
So we're not using
So
wraiths here.
yeah, no, I don't recommend using wraiths.
Yeah,
Not here. I think tanks are better.
they're in diffusion range.
Yeah, so I would say B makes sense. B's all right.
Actually, have him a bit lower, but okay. Both of you agree on D, so let's have him. Oh, B. Let's have him B. Juan's back. Tychus, where do you put him?
Odin ignores diffusion and has a nuke.
Yep.
So his nuke is huge.
How many times do you get to use that nuke anyway on this map? Twice?
You can use, depending on how much time you take, you can use it 2 or 3 times.
3
One
times.
for You could use it on the second, the third, then the fourth.
That's a lot of times.
I mean, depends how long you take, but you can use it probably about 3 times with the max mastery.
Mm-hmm.
You can use Vega to steal mines early on, or you can use Nux to storm them.
I'm probably just gonna use Sirius.
Sirius also works.
Yeah.
Because his turrets don't deal they don't trigger the mines.
He's,
I put him in A
He's seriously good.
because
Hey.
yeah, because you don't play that differently, and you have an Odin.
How about you, Styxbender?
Diffusion, yeah.
Instead of playing Tychus, you're playing Sirius, or whichever 6 range outlaw of your choice. But I would highly recommend Sirius. He's a detector. He's got 7 range. His turrets can kill mines that can't be targeted by mines. You're just playing Sirius instead of playing Tychus, and then you have an Odin whenever needed.
Okay.
A tier, yeah. Like he basically.
I actually have him in B because I don't think he's like the Dehaka level.
No.
I'm
He's
comparing
B
him
tier
to.
for I comparing him to the A tiers. It's like, does he fit with them? Kind of. The biggest thing that I think puts Tychus in B tier to me is that when I compare him to the B tiers, Han and Horner, yeah, he's definitely simpler. Swann, yeah, he's definitely simpler. Kerrigan, I think Kerrigan is better than him. I think that Kerrigan and Tychus do about the same thing, but Kerrigan does it better in this case.
So you think
Odin has its giant nuke, and mobilization wave is
Yeah.
bigger. And
Yeah, I think
Kerrigan
he's.
has Bird Lords. Kerrigan can make an army of units that outranges mines. Tychus can't do that.
Yeah, I think he's closer to B. What do you say, Tutu?
In terms of simplicity, I don't think you still go through the middle, and mine clearing for him is not slowed down because of diffusion or anything. He still clears pretty quickly because he's so strong.
Yeah.
So
I just think he's clearly better than Han and Horner and Swann. I think it's just that I think that he is safely worse than Kerrigan.
Or even similar to Kerrigan.
He's similar to Kerrigan, but I think that Kerrigan is just slightly better than him in everything she does. And most importantly, a mobilization wave is take the Odin, multiply it by 10. A mobilization wave is so much more useful than Odin here.
There's also no diffusion if the enemies die in one shot, right? Which the grenade can do to many units,
including the mines.
Not the Widow mine. If you're P2, the spider mines. If you're P2, the Widow mines will also die. But if you're just any other one, you still kill all the spider mines, and he could take a shot.
So
he could take a hit.
So where do you put him? A or B?
I had him in A. So
yeah.
I would strongly say B.
I also have him in B actually. I think when they have to decide between Artanis and Tychus, this is a consideration for me. It's either Tychus or Artanis. I would rather have Garden Shell and the safety of or the comfort of not having to go through the middle, because Tychus can go through the middle, but there's the risk that you might miss a mine or two, which will make it more painful. I think Tychus is closer to B. He's one of those guys between A and B, but I think he's closer to B than A. Are you too averse to having him in B, Tutu, or is he kind of okay at being top of B?
All right.
Okay, let's have a top of B. Maybe we can rearrange later. Zeratul, where do we put him?
Welcome back to Cannon's Good.
My cat has had a hard time not dying because of diffusion. There's so much diffusion.
That's a little surprising.
But
and
they take time to build up. And Void Thrashing is a fast map.
It feels it's not Cannon's Good S tier or anything silly like that. It's Cannon's Good B tier, I would say.
I'm more in agreement with that. How about you, Tutu?
I don't think cannons are okay. But they take some time to build up. You can get a few, but they're really slow.
Yeah, they're really slow.
Ambushes are better, but they require a lot of good control. The Avatar is nice.
Yeah,
turn all those.
It's a Marauders.
You devolve. Yeah, you devolve all the mines into other things that walk towards you, and then they die.
And mines are at the bottom tier. No. Mines are at the bottom tier. You'd evolve those mines into drones.
No. They become marauders. So they're widow mines.
really?
The widow mines, I think,
Yeah.
become.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
either way, they're not mines anymore,
Odd.
and then
They're not
they're
mines
gone.
anymore.
That's the point.
The spider mines. Do they get devolved?
I
don't
think
the
they
spider mines
count as buildings if they're
Yeah,
burrowed.
I'm pretty sure the spider mines ignore the devolution for reasons. So that's a little disappointing. But
But
you get rid of the widow
yeah,
mines.
Anyway, where do you put him?
Diffusion kind of makes Zeratul, the hero unit, a lot worse.
Yeah.
So you have to rely on your army, which is strong but not as strong. I put Zeratul in B.
Nice.
We agree.
We agreed. Nice. I was afraid that we'd have another argument about something, but yay! I think this looks really good. This tier list looks really good. Okay, let's go straight to rankings. So who's the second best S tier?
That's so. I didn't think about this. Well, it's so easy.
Are you sure that Manx is even the top? Because I might put a point towards Stetmann.
No. Arcturus can stop attack waves using Contaminated Strike.
Okay, Contaminated Strike. Here's the difference. Contaminated Strike requires you to aim with a delayed skill shot. Egorb requires you to click in the vague direction of the enemy.
Earth Splitters don't need you to go risk your army or anything. Just target on the Thrashers. And then
you don't
they
even
die.
have to fly around.
You don't even have to fly around. You don't even have to fight. You don't have to make anything else. You don't even have to
Okay,
dodge.
Basically, my thoughts is with Mengsk, you don't have to fly around. With Stetmann, you don't have to aim.
I think there's a lot of things to argue for, and this isn't one to argue. I don't think this is worth arguing.
This is literally not worth arguing. Yes, they're just all so good. All we can clearly say is that Nova is the worst of the three.
All right, there we go.
No, yeah.
I mean, it's still S.
Are pretty close.
Still S.
Nova's
still good. Just worst of the
S.
three.
Yes, she is the least S of the S's, but that's just because Stetmann and Manx are so ridiculous.
Okay, so who's the best among the A's?
Karax.
Artanis.
Dehaka.
Exactly, Dehaka, because it's less work.
Exactly.
Attacking the Thrashers.
Dehaka is discount Arcturus. That's my thought process here. You just eliminate the mines using the primal worms, and then you're basically Arcturus.
You eliminate the mines using the primal worms. That's 1,000 times more involved than all the activity required to solo with Menk, Stetmann, and Nova combined.
That's why he's A,
Soloing
not S.
the entire mission with those three combined
That's
is
why
less effort than just clearing out the mines to create a safe path for your creeper.
That's why he's A, not S.
You know what's a lot easier than that? You take a massive blob of Dragoons, you press the A key, you click on the other side of the base.
Risk of dying, though.
Watch.
Yeah.
What's the risk of dying?
If your observer is slightly out of position.
You have observer on follow command on a Dragoon.
Yeah, if it's not sieged. Yeah, if it's not sieged, your blob of Dragoons is so large that there's a higher chance that you miss the mine. Or 5.
Yeah, okay. Maybe there's a chance you miss a mine.
Or
I
5.
don't think there's actually that high a chance. But assuming you do,
Guardian
that's even then not really the end of the world. Dragoons are just gonna rip this apart. And
why would you go through the middle?
Yeah, I think Tempests are better for tennis.
I would go through the middle because that way I have just literally just a moving Dragoons into the waves is just gonna obliterate the waves. If I make Tempests, I have to worry about kiting around the edges, which sounds like a lot more micro, which I'm not unable to do that micro, but it sounds like a lot more micro involved. I have to worry about actually defending the waves instead of just my army defends the waves by existing. I move into the base as the wave is emerging from that base and everything dies anyways. It's fine.
I guess my consideration here is more of less risk overall than the amount of work required.
The amount of work and the amount of risk are both extremely low with just a blob of 8 range Dragoons. 8 range is enough that you outrange the Thrasher. The Thrasher doesn't aggro on you at 8 range.
You know what has more range than Tempests? Creeper
What?
Hosts. Dehaka for best in A.
But you know whose attack can be shot down by the mines that we were worried about? Creeper Host. You know who has the problem of when you actually get to the Thrasher and try to impact your banelings on the your creepers on the Thrasher? Diffusion kills half the projectiles.
No,
because
no,
the
no,
first
no,
half
no,
of
no.
the projectiles hit
No,
and
no,
kill
no,
the
no,
second
no.
half of Diffusion.
No, that's not a problem. Creepers have 180 health. They won't die. They only get
Some of them will.
They'll only die to the Widow Mines. They won't die to Diffusion.
Yeah, that sounds a little iffy to me.
You just spawn the next wave.
It's like
That sounds
at
a
no
lot
point,
slower. That sounds a
There's
lot
like-
more work.
It's
It's
safer
not.
though.
It's like at no point are you worried about losing anything.
Yeah.
Whereas, like you
I'd
might
only be worried about running out of time. I legitimately, we would be worried about running out of time.
Then
using
use
the creeper
pack
host approach.
leaders. Come on, pack leaders also good. Like we haven't even
Like,
talked about. Here we are.
I wouldn't be worried about losing my army, sure, except if someone misses a mine, which I've seen it happen to even the best. But you know what? I'd really be worried about losing the frickin' main objective.
You won't lose it. Come on. If you aren't able to quite kill the base there, you can still summon your pack eaters, which is all still really good.
Yes, the pack leaders can just steamroll everything, and that's quite good.
Yeah.
You know what else can steamroll everything? You have space archons that can do the same thing. They're not that much worse than the pack leaders.
Yeah, they're not. They don't. You don't have to be
But
that
they're
much
not an
worse.
easier commander to use in the first place.
They're not
I
that.
finished both in 21 minutes, so I don't think time was
You
It's the
used
same
Tempest,
time.
didn't you?
Tempest.
Dragoons would 100% be faster. The
Hmm.
only advantage of Tempest really is that because if you have the control to micro Tempests, then yes, you do have to deal with fewer mines, and therefore, yes, you do have less chance of something going wrong and you lose a bunch of stuff to mines because you have to deal with fewer of them and you have longer ranged units. But Dragoons are faster, and Dragoons are, lower micro requirement.
By the way, do we all
It's
agree
just
that?
Tempests are safer if you meet the micro requirement.
Do we all agree that Karax
and the other Karax, I think
is bottom of
I
A?
don't- I don't even know what to think about Karax. I don't want to add
Wasn't
Karax to the
Artanis
research right
B
now.
candidate and then
Yeah, now it's Karax.
Yeah, Artanis was B candidate if there were people above him, but I was just like, I don't expect to see people above Artanis aside from the S tiers, and I still feel that way.
I think
I
Artanis
feel
is
like
really
I was
good.
validated and no one showing up who really felt like they were above Artanis.
The reason
to
I
make him
had
a candidate.
the reason I had
Aside from
Artanis in A is because of the things that Sticks better mentioned, and the fact that you garden shell your ally.
And here's another thing. Here's one more advantage of the fact that Artanis just smashes up the middle. You know what your pub ally is probably going to also do? Smash up the middle. So if you are doing this with like creeper host sniping or flying around the edges with something and sniping the thrashers, you might well just find yourself completely alone, practically soloing while your ally, A moves
I
into
can't.
mines or something.
At this point, I honestly
If
can't
you
tell.
smash up the middle, your ally is helping you.
Creeper
you will
hosts go up
force
the
them
middle.
to be helpful.
Creeper host goes through the. You can like. I actually think Now that you mention it, like you organically clear the middle using dragoons, which does help your ally. I think that makes sense. And you garden shell him.
And you shield overcharge him. And you have solar bombardment on top of like your either Archon dudes or just solar bombardment. You have either Archon dudes and solar or Guardian Shells and solar bombardment.
Okay, now
That's a lot of power for things. Like,
is Artanis clearly better than Karax? The mines literally are the problem for the monoliths. I guess it's just that you have way more firepower.
The mines are problem for monoliths. Actually getting to and killing the thrashers is.
That's true.
Yes, you could pure Spear of Adun them, I understand. Although, I strongly suspect that you did use Mirage. I think that you would. I think it's impossible to use pure Spear of Adun to kill the Void Thrashers on this mission. I think that's too slow. I'm not 100% certain, but I think if you use only Spear of Adun to hit Thrashers, you will run out of time and lose the game. I think. I'd have to
I
test.
used Mirages.
Yeah. So
Mirage Spirit.
no matter what, you can't argue that Karax has an easier time than Artanis at getting to the Thrashers.
Alright, so Karax is probably bottom of A, which isn't bad. It's still A.
Karax is probably bottom of A. Yeah, honestly, I was a little iffy on putting Karax in A in the first place. It's like, I think he's good enough to make A.
All that
Solar
discussion.
Line's really good.
All that discussion. Turns out A was already correctly ordered.
Yeah.
Okay.
Indeed it was.
Who's the best among the bees?
Kerrigan, it's not even a competition.
Agree, Tutu? Or is it Tychus?
Kerrigan. Well,
I think Tychus and Kerrigan are both like top of B. Is Zeratul? I don't think Zeratul is candidate
no,
for
not
top of B.
Zeratul.
No, Zeratul's the bottom.
It's either Kerrigan or Tychus. I'm actually leaning toward Kerrigan because she's the same color as the B. B is purple, Kerrigan is purple. I think it makes sense.
Immobilization wave is so good.
Yeah, and she
It
can.
comes up more frequently.
Immobilization wave is just over a 2-minute cooldown.
All right,
Assuming you
so
have ability efficiency.
Kerrigan top of B, then Tychus, and then after that, Han and Horner, Swann, or Zeratul.
I would put
Swann?
Swann next personally, but I think Tutu would put Han and Horner next. I would put Swann next for certain.
I think battlecruisers have an easier time killing the Thrashers than do Wraiths
Yeah,
or
that's-
tanks.
or tanks.
No, I would not use tanks.
Yes.
Oh gosh, that's begging for disaster.
Yeah, I think Swann. No, I think Han and Horner above Swann. Is Zeratul's bottom B? Wow.
You can't use Zeratul. You gotta use his.
Well, no, you can use Zeratul's hero unit. It's just that his micro requirement is in the same boat as Vorazun.
Yeah, and
He's
I
got
had
all the phasing armor on Zeratul is plenty enough to make him just completely ignore these mutators if you micro the heck out of him.
I had this nasty
I
experience
don't
with
trust anyone to
Zeratul.
do that.
I played Zeratul on this mutation. I think the second fragment spawned in the last base.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't get it.
That can happen.
And none of these other commanders have that risk of their power being gated behind.
They have to pay money for their upgrades.
To be fair, if you're really fast and on top of it with Zeratul, you get the invulnerability. You get half-second invulnerability when you first take damage on a 5-second cooldown. You get a half-second invulnerability when you summon the artifact thing. Like when you actually use the prophetic vision to create the artifact, it gives you a couple frames of invulnerability there. And then you have blink spam. And also both of those invulnerability windows cause Widow Mines to reset their targeting on you, and more importantly, the Spider Mines pop up to hit you, you get that invulnerability window, and now the Spider Mines just go AFK until they reburrow.
They're still the enemies right there, though.
Yes, but you could just you if you Void Seeker in, grab the artifact,
I died
blink out,
instantly.
Yes, it is tight. The timing is very tight.
I died instantly.
But it's 100% doable. It's 100% doable in the way that Vorazun is 100% doable.
Okay, who's
literally both of the Dark Templar are in the same place here.
Stukov top of C, right? I think so. Stukov top of C.
I'm thinking between Stukov and Alarak.
I think Stukov clearly better. 18 range
I
siege
think
tanks.
Alarak. Okay, but
18 range
18.
siege
It's a lot
tanks.
less stressful.
But
Yeah.
once you have the 13 range of Wrathwalkers, is it 13 or 12? I think it's 13. Once you have the 13 range of Wrathwalkers, honestly, at that point, 13, 18,
Seeing.
isn't that big of a deal.
Seeing
you
is
know
going to
what?
be the thing for Alarak.
Exactly. Alarak's better at seeing. That's my point.
No, he's
Alarak
not.
detectors are invisible, and if they die, you just warp in a new one instantaneously instead of having to morph an Overlord, fly it over.
Stukov has
Alarak's
buildings that
better
can
at
see.
seeing. Alarak's better at seeing.
I don't think so. I think Stukov's better at seeing. He can siege up
Stukov is a
overseers.
lot less stressful.
Yeah.
I think if you use Wrathwalkers, then Alarak is probably going to be
And you
not
get
more
there,
stressful.
like, you're not gonna rush Wrathwalkers.
He can
you
rush
are.
siege tanks.
If you're going Wrathwalkers, you're gonna rush Wrathwalkers.
Think of how many steps you have to get. You have to do to get to Wrathwalkers. Gateway, Cybercore, Robo Bay. That's 4 buildings, 4 tech structures, and you need a
And
pylon.
upgrades.
You can have Wrathwalkers before 5 minutes.
But consider Stukov.
100%.
Factory,
You still have
tech
to
lab,
get, you also
siege
have
tank.
to get the
You can have Wrathwalkers out by the. You can have Wrathwalkers and Havocs out by the first Void Thrasher spawning. Straight
and
up.
then the and then the Havoc's gonna die because of diffusion because he walks too close.
That is your problem, because if you put him on attack move, his actual laser pointer has more range than diffusion. Mess up.
I would still rather recommend Stukov to the average player.
Okay. The only reason I'll concede that we'll put Stukov above Alarak is because the average player will probably F2, and this unfortunately means that Alarak will come with them, and Alarak will walk up, hug the mines, and then die. Oh wait, no, he won't die. He'll eat your Wrathwalker, and then he'll die.
Exactly. So I think
That is the only reason.
Stukov higher. Raynor bottom, right?
Yeah, that's easy.
Okay. So here we go.
No. Just leave them. Don't touch them.
I'm ready to get some popcorn if you.
Okay, well I would put forces.
Oh, we've done.
Anyways,
we finished with this.
We finish with this. Yes, don't touch them.
All right. Here we go, guys. There we go, guys. The tier list is complete. For those of you who are watching this on Patreon, you will be treated to a 90-minute tier list video. But if you're on YouTube, this will be probably less than an hour. So, yeah.
Probably.
I could probably get it to under an hour. And there's going to be a separate, if you're on YouTube, there's going to be a separate section of this where Stixbender talks about Warzone. Epic Warzone Rant Part 2. So, go watch their channels down below. I will link them down below, and I will see you guys next time.